MD sir, judges, teachers, and all my dear friends. Welcome to the TED Talk competition. We, the participants from Agni House, will present a TED Talk on the topic Climate Change Begins at Home. I repeat the topic, Climate Change Begins at Home. In the time it took me to walk onto the stage, around 10 seconds, more than 10,000 metric tons of climate warming gases have been pumped into the atmosphere from human actions. To provide some context on just how much that is the weight equivalent of 170,000 of me emitted in gas in 10 seconds. 99% of this population is carbon dioxide, CO2, and we know we need to reduce it. The other 1% is almost entirely methane, which mostly comes from producing fossil fuels, managing waste, and raising livestock. But that 1% of methane could cause more warming in the next 10 years than all that CO2. This is because methane absorbs a lot more energy per unit mass for reasons relating to its molecular structure and its ability to form other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This is key for protecting generations to come. But with climate change already devastating so many lives today, we cannot focus only on the distant future. We as the responsible citizens should aim to identify ways to slow down warming as fast as possible so that we can lower the risk of worsening damages in the near future. This is where methane comes in. That 1% of methane may cause more warming than all that CO2 in the next several years. Methane's warming power is therefore not only from the gradual buildup over time like CO2, but almost entirely from the recent emission. This means that every time we reduce methane, we can reduce a lot of warming right away. And in fact, cutting methane is the single fastest, most effective opportunity to immediately slow down the warming right away. This is not only because methane does act fast, but we can also act fast because we have the technologies available right now to cut methane emissions from human activities in half. And even better, all these solutions pay for themselves.
The methane we emit today comes from three main sources: energy production, waste management, and agriculture. The very first, energy production, is the fastest and largest way to reduce these emissions. Methane produced by energy is not solely produced by the burning of fossil fuels, but mainly because of the production of fossil fuels, because most gases, mainly methane, get escaped into the atmosphere while the extractions of minerals, fossil fuels, oil, and gases. And it can completely offset any near-term climate benefits that we receive from using gas
expels methane that is produced when digesting plants like grass. Reducing these emissions can be done by using high-quality feed supplements. Some scientists are developing and testing new technologies like feed supplements that can suppress methane by at least 30% from cow's gut. But we can cover manure lagoons and convert them into heated electricity by pumping them into digesters. Another source is rice production. The rice production, which is staple for world's half population, is produce methane as they are grown in flooded fields that create ideal conditions for microbes to form methane. These rice productions also generate so much methane that we should maintain water levels, which is as simple as maintaining shallow level of water in rice fields. This would help us to reduce methane emissions. By implementing all of these solutions would help, as many people have started to act. Many governments, CEOs, and farmers are using advanced measures to reduce methane emissions. But we need more, because there is a lot of warming over years. If we want to prevent this, we should quickly deploy the full set of affordable and available strategies. We need standalone methane targets as every company's business model and every country's nationally determined contribution. Because if we succeed in this rapid, full-scale effort to cut methane, we should get benefits over lifetime. For example, if this disclosed in a research that we can slow down the rate of methane by at least 30% over years and before the mid-century. This would also help us to adapt the climate change and hit the brakes on worsening events like wildfire in Australia and America and flooding in Europe and Asia. This would also help us to clean air, save crops, and save water, as methane contributes to ozone pollution.
As we fast forward to later decades, acting now to cut methane is the key to reducing climate change risk. This is because when methane reductions are combined with strong actions to cut CO2, it becomes unlikely that temperature would rise to those levels that would trigger a total loss in Arctic summer sea ice. This is important, not just for polar communities and ecosystems, but for the entire world. We have now been talking for almost 10 months, which means more than 70,000 metric tons of climate warming gases have been pumped in the atmosphere. This is the methane that could warm the earth the most over the next 10 years. But we can cut these emissions in half right now, from energy, from waste and agriculture. This is the methane movement. The methane movement, because cutting methane is the single fastest, most effective opportunity to reduce climate changing risks in the near term. And cutting CO2, which will otherwise build up in the long term, is the key to reducing the risk in the upcoming years. We need to do both, to plot a safer